Welcome. I'm Christian. I'm from a company called mySugr, and today I'm going to talk about how the company from first founders scaled up to more than 100 people with an Agile mindset, and how we did it, what challenges we faced, and what worked out best for us. So it all started with 4 guys there, and Gerald, Frank, Michael, and Frederick, and they had an idea. And they wanted to make diabetes suck less. 2 of them have diabetes on their own, so they saw problems in the daily life and they want to fix this for more people with diabetes. So they hired people. You can see Mani is our first product owner there, me on the other side, and right now we have more than 100 people trying to go to the same direction while have autonomous boats that actually navigate on their own. But let's start with why actually the company was founded. So diabetes sucks, it's a fact. If you have diabetes, you got diagnosed at a certain point in your life and your life changes. So what do you do with this? You see the doctor maybe every 3 months, but in the meantime, you're on your own. And you have to deal with your disease on your own. You have to make up to 50 therapy-related decisions a day, which is a lot, especially when you're newly diagnosed. So the vision of mySugr is from the very beginning until now to make diabetes success. That's what we try to do in our daily life. And the products changed over time, but the main product is the mySugr application, the most famous one. It exists on Android and iOS, native applications that allow you to track your data, to connect to different data sources of devices that you use when you have diabetes. We increased our service. We have something that is called the mySugr bundle, where you get coached from trained nurses, so-called diabetes coaches, that help you during the doctor visits with your therapy. They help you if you have problems. They reach out to you directly to your mobile phone. You get the test strips delivered to your home. You don't have to go to the pharmacy all the time. Unlimited test strips. So we connect all together and try to make diabetes success. This was a vision the 4 guys had when they founded the company. And it started in 2011, and it started with a good mixture of a team. Gerald is a very UX guy, so he's a UX designer. He's very good in branding a company. Frank, the CEO, is very good with business, understanding business cases, adapting them if needed. Frederick is a pure product guy, with a good vision, knowing where to go. And Michael is very Agile driven, a lot of understanding of quality, because we're making medical products, so quality is essential for us, and all the regulatory parts. So this was a good mixture, but to grow a customer base, you need to grow as a company. So 2 years later, we had around 15 or 20 monster tamers, as we call our employees. We are monster tamers, because we tame every day the diabetes monster. We reached our first 5,000 customers. This is a picture I made when we celebrated 5,000 customers. And currently we're having a customer base of around 1.5 million users worldwide, mainly in the European Union and the United States. To make this possible, we had to grow our company and our company structure. This is what I'm going to talk today about. Last Christmas, we reached 70 employees, mainly in Vienna. But also we have an office in the USA with around 10 employees. And a few weeks ago, we celebrated our employee number 99 and 100. This was a huge step, because this is what we work for, to make the company ready for more. But nevertheless, we don't forget why we're here and why we do it. And I think that's essential when it comes to scaling. You should know why you're here as a company. And it's for our customers, so we are a very customer-driven company from the start. Of course, due to the fact that we have people with diabetes in our team. We have currently 25 of our people who live with diabetes. 2 of the founders live with diabetes. And this is a tattoo from one of our customers. 3 years ago, he sent it to us. He tattooed our logo, the diabetes monster, into his arm. So we really always have the customers in mind. I think currently even 2, if not 3 people run around with the tattoo of our company logo. In 2017, we became part of Roche. So we are part of a bigger group right now. And how we went to this point where I'm standing right now, I will share with you the next half an hour. I will start with culture because for me this is the backbone of a company when it comes to scaling. And it is important to understand the culture and to proactively form it and evolve it over the time. When I'm talking about culture, I put the words up there that I connect as main enablers for the culture for growing at mySugr. We are open by default, so transparency is very important for us as a company. We have feisty problem solvers, so in German you would say mutige Menschen, and it sounds easy, but it's really what we want. We want people who see problems to actually fix it on their own. So we are really searching for people who want to do stuff. So do-it-yourself mindset is very important for us. Agile mindset, of course, from the very beginning, and we try to maintain it. We had times where we were better, of course, times where we were not that agile, but this is our culture. We want to have a very approachable culture, and of course quality-driven, because in the end we're making medical products for people with diabetes, so quality is essential for us. But let's get to examples that I can underline what I mean. When I'm talking about approachability, this is a picture I made, I think 4 months ago, when we reformed our company vision. And you can see Frank with the microphone, it's our CEO, and he's in front of the whole company, I think 70 people at this moment in this room, and he's explaining the company vision. And on the back you can see an anonymous voting of the people, how aligned they are with the vision, if they really love our vision. And he's in discussion with the employees in the fishbowl, it's a format where you can discuss, and he's really on eye level and trying to explain our vision and also open for change. So we did this 2 times, this was the first iteration, and we adapted it on the feedback. So it was a top-down and bottom-up approach. And what is special for me with this picture is, I realized when I put it into the presentation, is you see there are 4 people on the picture, and all of them started less than half a year ago at the company. So you can see people recently joining the company, discussing with the CEO about the vision, trying to understand it, challenge certain aspects on it, and really try to understand it. And I think it's essential that you have a shared vision as a company while growing. When I'm talking about doing stuff on your own, you can see here Michael, one of the founders, carrying around couches before we had a company party. So we don't have people saying, yeah, you do the shit for me and you do the shit for me. No, we help together and we do it on our own. We even build stuff in our office on our own. This is something we launched a few days ago. We used this box to carry around stuff in the office. We designed it because we saw, okay, all the people have laptops, they're running around all the time, but they need post-its or notebooks and everything. So we designed the stuff we need on our own if needed. So we not only work on products, but we also see our employees as customers, and we need to make a company that serves them. If you're interested in this, you can see Flo in the front with the baseball cap. He's going to talk in the afternoon at 3 about how we build our office like a product. So we launched a new alpha version of our office, and he's going to tell you why we did it and how we did it. So this is just one part of it. Here you can see a picture I made last winter in the USA during a design sprint. So there was a design sprint for 1 week. It was a clear goal of the design sprint. And you can see here Paul, a business developer, and in the front Sarah, and on the back Jen, marketing managers, working together. And during the design sprint we figured out, hey, we want to try something out to make the bundle, the mySugr product, easy to understand to customers. And they had a picture in mind, the need, how they could transport what the product actually does. So instead of waiting for the perfect weather, the perfect photographer who could make this picture, they just helped together, make the picture good enough to start and try it out. So the attitude of doing things on your own is very essential for us. Collaboration and openness is essential. Here you can see 2 designers from 2 teams working on a concept together and sharing the really early drafts directly on the wall that they can discuss with their teams. So they don't hide in a room and figure out the best concept. They really share it as soon as possible to get feedback. And This also is reflected in our office. You can see here a picture of our old office last week. But it's open. Everyone is sitting co-located in the same place. There are no doors, there are no rooms. So from leadership, customer support, finance, accounting, marketing, you name it, everyone is in the same place and approachable. You can stand up and go to the person when you have a problem, when you need something directly. You don't need to knock on someone's door. This is also a picture when I'm talking about transparency and collaboration. We were working on a product, and 3 product teams were working on the same vision and the same product. So it was a team focusing more on web development, one more on Android and iOS development, of course marketing also to get it out. So from a customer point of view, it doesn't matter who does it. It's one experience you want to have. So what they did is they drew the whole user experience into our office to discuss it with the team, identify the problems they have in certain areas, and to make prioritization with the teams to align what is the most important thing to tackle first. I don't want to talk too much today about Agile ceremonies in teams, because I think most of you are aware of it. So we do stand-ups, plannings, retros, and sprint reviews without any question. So this is in our DNA, and I'm going to talk today more about other ceremonies we do. But just that you know, so every product team and also every other department or employee has a stand-up, and we try to have the ceremonies all over the place. And to understand our culture, I think it's important to see that we have people that love what they do. And I took this picture because you can see Hubert, he's one of our most experienced developers here, and he loves coffee. And for me, it's a symbol. He loves coffee so much that he really cares that people in the office drink good coffee. So he always wanted to have a proper coffee machine, and he explains every single employee, every new person that starts how to make good coffee. And for me, that's important to understand what it reflects. He shares his knowledge. He does the same when he onboards a new guy working on our backend code. He really is transparent, so we don't do superstars in our company. We want people actually to encourage others to have the same knowledge they have to do great stuff. And yeah, so this is Hubert. This is another example. So when we have parties, we don't have a DJ or something like this. We have our own band. So we are not the best musicians, but in the end, it works out and it's good enough, and we enjoy playing our Christmas parties. It all comes down, I think, to this post I made a picture of some months ago. So the culture, I think, is very much important and forms the structure and the other way around. So both go along together, and you need to take care of both. And that's something in our DNA, and this is a picture of the little green book, which we wrote 4 years ago or 3 years ago. Clara actually wrote it when 4 years ago she was an intern, and I think she realized culture is essential in the organization. And she, on a hack day, so we have hack days where we do things that we like from time to time, she started writing a book about the culture. And this is a book every new employee now gets. On the first day to see who are the people working in the company, how do we work, what does Agile mean for us. So we really proactively form our culture. I'm coming back to scaling. And one essential part we figured out that is important if you want to scale is that you bring the problem solvers directly to the problem. And like this, you avoid handovers, and you really have people, if you have feisty problem solvers, they are able to solve problems. So of course we have cross-functional product teams with all disciplines with end-to-end responsibility. We try to avoid men or women in the middle. We have user research directly in the teams, of course quality assurance and other important disciplines for us. And I'm going to also talk about who is the product owner and which kind of product owner we have in our companies. When you grow, you want people to be productive, to do their work, do what they enjoy, but in the end, it should all come together. And that's what it's all about when it comes to scaling. But what happens very often, and it also happened at mySugr frequently, you have someone talking to the customer, thinking to understand the problem or understand the solution the person needs, throws it over the wall and expect that you get the best result out. And this is what we try to avoid. So, because what happens usually, the customer has something in mind, the person in the middle can be anyone, can be a product owner, can be sales, can be marketing, literally anyone. Thinks to understand the problem, tells it to a design team. They come together, use all their fancy methodologies, try to understand the problem, but come up with a pumpkin. Tell the developers, hey, we can tell you what you need to do. The developers are happy because they can code, they don't have to think about, they don't have to do user interviews. They code it, and 20 people create a big carrot, but this was not what the user was expecting. And we faced this really several times. And that's why I would like to emphasize how important it is that you have the problem solvers as close as possible to the one having the problem. So we have cross-functional teams that do user research. Some have a dedicated user researcher, some just do it with the best knowledge they have. We have quality assurance, user experience in there, product owner, of course developers. So small cross-functional teams that work together. This does not only apply to product teams, we try to have the same in marketing and other departments. And when you start a company and you have a good setup from the beginning, as we had, with different disciplines and the founders, the cross-functional team is there per default. So you can see a picture from 2012, I think, where 3 of the founders were sitting literally together on the table with a developer. So you have a cross-functional team. You have business as represented as product in the same way than the user experience. And this worked out quite well. But after a while, the team becomes bigger and bigger, and you start to have 2 teams. And we ended up having teams where no person with diabetes was in, which was essential at the beginning to understand the customer needs. We had teams with no business perspective in it, and I could name you more examples. So this is a situation you face when you scale. So we started to include the people again into the teams and really try to bring the people together into the planning, into the standard, into the doing. This is a picture made where we made cross-department grooming. So we were launching the product in the US, and the tax system is quite different to the States. So here you can see Bernd, our finance guys, our CFO, working together as a product owner and a backend developer to really identify the problems we need to solve. So bring the people with knowledge together to solve problems. Anyhow, we faced many challenges, especially in the past, the last year when we scaled from 60, 70 people up to more than 100 people. And we identified at the beginning of the year 4 main challenges. So we saw that we have a lack of autonomy in the teams, that we were not able to innovate our product and scale our business model at the same time, or at least not to the as much as we actually wanted. We got part of Roche, so we had to find our position within the bigger company. We had to figure out what is our value to Roche, where is our position, and we saw we have so many new people coming in, 4 employees sometimes a week, so it was hard to get everyone on board and to understand our culture, and some people didn't enjoy working for the company as much as before. So we tried to fix this. And from the product teams, I heard once someone said, I think you have lion teams. What is a lion team? You can throw everything at this team, we're going to fix it. And we had this half a year ago. So this is not bad per default. So you have people who can fix every problem, but it has a downside. And the downside is that they do not own the mission, they have more short-term thinking, they don't drive the backlog on their own, and if they don't have the long perspective, you cannot scale, because you're always depending on certain people who have it. And this is what we want to bring to the teams again. So we said, okay, we have lion teams, we want to fix this again. And we started with one team where we said, okay, let's bring those people closer to the customer again. So we started to emphasize user research in the teams again. This is a new product team, or squad as we call it, doing user interviews. And those are 2 people of this squad at the diabetes camp, I think it was in Germany, and a product owner and a user researcher or UX designer were at the camp to really observe how people with diabetes treat their therapy and what problems they have. So really go to the user and try to understand it. And it sounds easy and it hurts. And this is Matthias, the UX designer, and he's not diabetic, and he wore a pump for several weeks, an insulin pump, to see what it actually means to inject insulin after drinking, after eating in the morning, and to really understand what kind of problems he needs to solve as a UX designer with his team for the customers. This is another example. You can see Marcus here. This is a picture 3 years ago. He didn't work for mySugr at this point. He was a business developer for a big company, also in the healthcare area. And he came to mySugr, changed his outfit a bit, but of course he was a sales guy. He was out there, we were cooperating a lot with insurances, and he's great in his job. But back in the office, we had people in the product teams working on the needs, and there was always the communication. So there was always the product owner communicating with the sales guy, and of course this is already the man in the middle that I explained before. So Marcus is very open-minded, so we approached him and asked him, do you want to become the product owner? Do you want to change your role, go directly into the team? And he was into it. We had an experienced HR coach in the team, so he learned quite quickly what it means to be a product owner, what's the difference between manager and product owner, and he could help the team a lot. And also the team was very open-minded, and after weeks we saw the benefits. So he knew the people directly to call if the team has a problem. So there was very removed. Alignment and autonomy. I think it's obvious that it's important if you want to scale a company that you need alignment. And if you want to work agile and if you want to attract good people who are able to solve problems, you need to give them autonomy. And I will talk about some things that we did at mySugr that helped with alignment and with autonomy at the same time. I'm going to talk about the company vision, how we evolved it over time, how we introduced tribes and squads, famous from Spotify, Agile, and OKRs, objectives and key results, and two enablers, the brick and the mirror of truth. Culture map. The culture map is a methodology that helps you to identify enablers and blockers of your culture, which lead to a certain behavior and to a desired outcome. And let's make this example. So this is a talking stick. We use this in teams if you want to have people to listen to each other. So it's an enabler. A talking stick is an enabler, and it leads to a behavior. It leads to a behavior that people listen to you and that everyone is heard. And this usually leads to the outcome of better alignment of the teams and not overruling people. So this is a culture map. You can see the enablers that the team identified. Here on the left, the talking stick, which leads to active listening, and people are heard, and overall to share and learn and better understanding each other. And we use this at the beginning of the year to think about the whole company as a structure. So we wanted to find out what is the culture of mySugr. Everyone knew that culture was and is important for us, but if you ask people around, they will tell you different things. And I think everyone had a truth in it. So what we did is, I think a third of the company contributed in culture mapping sessions, where we tried to identify the enablers and the blockers of our culture, their behaviors, and the outcome we want to have. And you can see a picture here, and one important part was that we saw in the red short-term thinking was a blocker for us at this time, and that the mission is a huge enabler but also a blocker to us because it was not that clear anymore. And we know the Spotify engineering culture videos since 2014, we got inspired by them, had some ideas, and they are talking about similar stuff. They're talking about alignment, they're talking about transparency, so we knew, okay, we can learn something from there, or we can try things out and adapt it. But before we started to kick off tribes and squads and guilds and all all the stuff you will hear around. We wanted to think about what do we actually want to solve with it. Because I think it's a huge mistake to just take something that works somewhere else without understanding what you want to solve and why it worked for them. So what was clear for us was that we want to have tribes. Tribe is the biggest end-to-end unity in the company that can deliver customer value, and we wanted to have cross-functional teams or squads, as we call it. And we knew with the size we have that we will have something like 2 to 3 tribes. This was clear. But before kicking off tribes and kicking off squads, we said, okay, we found out that the company vision is not that clear anymore to everyone, not to every new employee, and there is a misunderstanding in there. So we started to work on our company vision first. And of course, making diabetes success is what we still do and what we always did. But there's more behind it. So we made a one-pager. It's like a read of, I would say, 3 to 4 minutes, where we try to nail it down to the point what is our vision. And it includes which customer segments we are tackling. It includes what kind of organization we want to have, so we refer to more than Agile there. It, of course, states the position within Roche, which kind of business we want to make, and everything in a short sentence and really clear to understand. And then what we did, we presented it to the company. Of course, while forming it, we had input from I think more than 20 people from the company, and we discussed it. So we shared it, we let people challenge it, we tweaked it, and got alignment from the company. So this is an anonymous voting, as I said, where people really say, does this get me out of bed in the morning? And if not, it's not a good vision. So we had the vision, and we then knew, okay, we will introduce something that we had in the past and stopped at the moment, and it's objectives and key results. And give me a quick sign, who has heard of OKRs already? So more than half of the people, I would say. It's very famous. Google uses this, LinkedIn, Dropbox, Spotify, you name it. So many organizations are thinking about using OKRs or actually use OKRs. And I think there are good reasons for it, because they promise stuff that everyone wants when you want to scale a company. They promise alignment, and this is important. You need alignment when you scale. And at the same time, they promise autonomy. And this is also what you want if you want to establish an agile company. You need autonomy, and you need people to make decisions in early in daily life. They promise focus, because in the end you need to get the things out there and you need to focus to get this done. And last but not least, they promise you reduced time for the setting of your goals in the company. So huge promises, that's why I think everyone tries them out. Because it's important when it comes down to scaling. For those who haven't heard about OKRs, the idea is quite simple. So you define an objective, and an objective is a catchy phrase that everyone can remember in the company, and is a qualitative goal that you have. Like fly to the moon, or in our case, make diabetes success. Like something that you can remember and you know, and gets you out of bed in the morning. And the key result is our measurements. So you put numbers in it, and it shows you if you're going into the right direction. So you measure if you're going actually to make diabetes success. So these are OKRs. It's very simple. You have objective to give the direction, the key results to measure it. And the main differences into KPIs or similar things is that they are open for different solutions. So they don't put the solution in there, they keep the solution space for the people. And we started with OKRs when we had around 50 employees, and we found out that they helped us a lot. Even though we made mistakes there, we started having OKRs for the whole product teams. So we had OKRs for 40 people, or no, 30 people. Then we found out, actually this doesn't lead to alignment. We need the whole company. We need finance, sales, we need marketing. We all need to go towards the same goals. So we made OKRs on a quarterly basis for the whole company, and then every team and every department had OKRs. This was very hard to align them if you do this every quarter. And last December we figured out that actually we have OKRs, but they do not serve what we wanted to do. And we came up something that was closer to a to-do list than to really something that gets you out of bed in the morning and you are really autonomous in the way you implement things. So I think we made a bold move. We went in front of the company and said, I think we failed with the OKRs. We need to stop it and we need to fix it, and we don't want to run into the next quarter doing the same mistakes again. Let's step back and analyze the mistakes we made and try to fix this at the root of the problem. And some mistakes we made, and it's, I think, really embarrassing to share because every article, every book tells you do not do too many objectives, 1 is better than 5, do not do too many key results, 2 to 3 is good, 5 is not. We did everything. We had in the beginning 4 objectives with 5 key results, so of course it doesn't need to focus. So this is something I would really emphasize, don't do too many OKRs. It forces you to think about what is really essential for you as a company. And that's hard, that's not easy, and if you are not willing to make this change, don't introduce OKRs. Very essential for us, we found out that the OKRs were not linked to our vision. And this is also essential. So we tried to fix this. What worked with OKRs, and what I encourage you to do when you introduce OKRs, if you want to refine them, always be clear about the why behind it. So keep emphasizing why this objective is important for you as a company, how it fits to the bigger picture, why this key result is essential. This is very important to constantly communicate. Share the progress of the OKRs is also essential. So every team shared weekly the progress of the key results. So in an email to the whole company, in the office, there were posters where everyone could go to the teams and see what's the progress of OKRs. So be transparent about it and reflect on it. So we did OKRs for a long time on a quarterly basis. Every quarter we made a break, analyzed in the retrospective what went well for us as a company, what did not go, didn't work out that well, and how we're going to tweak it. So keep improving it. And I can highly recommend this book, Radical Focus. It's a very easy read, and it explains OKRs as simple as possible, I think, and many things that they mentioned in there, what you shouldn't do, we did and we failed. So if you read it, I think it will help you a lot. I really encourage you to read. There's also a beginner's guide of OKRs from Philippe de Castro. I can also recommend this a lot. This is already a bit more advanced things. So as said, we started to think about our vision again, and we knew we're going to have 2 tribes. The tribe is the biggest unit in the company, serving one customer need end-to-end. And of course, for this you need cross-functional teams in there, and also marketing and all those things in the tribe. So we knew we have a size with 70, 80 people where we can have 2 tribes with around 30 people. And of course, we need supporting people over there from customer support to accounting and many more. So we established a new vision. As I showed you, we really tried to get the alignment from the whole company. And then we said, okay, based on this vision, which gives us a perspective of the treasure that we're going to see. Everyone has a picture in what we want to do in 3-4 years, but it's a bit fuzzy, and it's okay to be fuzzy, but you have to be more concrete. So we said, okay, before we get started with tribes, let's think about the OKRs on a strategic level for 1.5 years of the 2 tribes. What is the success criteria we're going to measure the tribes around? And before getting people into the tribes, we identified 2 mission keepers, as we call them. Other companies call them the head of a tribe or the leader of a tribe. For us, it's the mission keeper because their job is to have a clear mission and to align with the coordinates. So we identified them. They, with the whole company, developed the OKRs, aligned with them, and then we started to build squads, product teams, you could also name them, and they formed quarterly OKRs based on the tribe OKRs. This is how we implemented it. And yes, then we have now 2 tribes. So the mission keeper up there, a very essential role. And what we also introduced is that every squad, before we start a squad, we identified a founder. And in a similar way to a starter, we need really someone loving the mission and really tries to get something out there. And this is the founder. So people could approach us as HR coaches or the tribe mission keepers and say, hey, I have an idea for a squad, a clear mission, because we wanted to get away of the 9 teams that could do everything. We wanted to have teams that really focus on a specific area. And you were a founder, and you tried to get a team together and form the mission and make the OKRs. While scaling, it's important to make decisions. And I told you in the beginning that we really try to have problem solvers in the company who are able, who are good, and can make decisions. And this is our CTO Werner there, and he's making a picture of the mirror of truth, how we call it. So that's a mirror in the office. And there was a situation half a year ago when the GDPR was in Europe. I think the deadline was May 26th, so it's the privacy law from the European Union, and it was very important for us to be compliant, especially because we make medical products, but also because we care about our users and their data is really important for us. And there were situations where teams said, yeah, I'm blocked because I'm waiting for the response of the law, or I'm blocked because I'm waiting for the regulatory guy to tell me. And then Bernard went directly to IKEA, bought the mirror, and said, okay, go into the mirror, ask the question, and look what the person in the mirror tells you. And in 80% of the case, you will be able to answer the question yourself. So you can make decisions, and you have a good understanding usually what is right and what is wrong. Because GDPR, as one example, was made for customers. So if you think, can I look into the mirror tomorrow again with this decision, and you say yes, try it. Do it. You can still write the law and say, is it okay? But you don't have to wait to answer and block yourself. So the mirror of truth is now used if someone asks you a question where you think you can answer yourself. Go to the mirror, ask the question, and that's it. This is something we had from the very first year I joined, and it's the brick. It's a physical brick in the office, and this is the highest escalation level you can have in our company. And this means you are blocked. You think no one gives a shit about your problem, no one helps you solving it, you don't even know who can solve it, but you can't do your job properly. So you take the brick, go to the table of the person with the problem, throw it, and when we were a size of 30 people, the whole company had to stop working. So everyone was looking, holy shit, there's a brick, and then there is the problem, and someone needs to solve it. Right now with 100 people, it's not the whole company, but rather the team stopping working. And it's not used that often, so let's say 1 to 3 times a year. This is really the highest escalation level you can have. But you know there is something, if I'm blocked, I take it, I put it on the table, and I can guarantee that people take my problem seriously. And the next thing I'm going to talk about are ceremonies. And I think they're very important, because if you only dream, you will never get things done. If you only execute, you stop dreaming, you stop having innovation. And if you only execute, you will never reflect on what you do and how you do it, and you don't get better. So clearly, stand-ups, plannings, retros, and review are important. I'm going to talk about ceremonies beside them that help us a lot. Show and tell is a ceremony we have since the very beginning, cross-functional, team retros, and the quarterly celebration. I talked about the talking stick before, so this is an enabler that helps us in ceremonies to be heard, that everyone can speak out loud. We use time boxing a lot, so we encourage every meeting to be clear how long it's going to take, what's the goal, who is facilitating, and who is taking care of the outcome. Otherwise, don't participate in the meeting and stop it. That's essential thing to be effective. We have ceremonies from cross-functional, across department, so we really believe that superstars don't work out in this case. So you need people working together. Here you see 2 developers, one developer, 1 data scientist, 1 product owner, and 1 quality assurance guy cooking together. So this is, I think, a symbol for how we work. Here you can see Bernard at at least it was my first show and tell, and this is a weekly ceremony where the whole company shares progress. So they don't share, they share early progress. So everyone shares what they are currently working on. And we had Frank, our CEO, remotely at this day in Berlin, I think, and we couldn't afford any good software for mirroring, so we just hacked it. But the idea is there, we share what we have. This is how show and tell looks now in our new office. I made this picture some days ago. So with 100 people, of course, the setup changed, but the idea is the same. Everyone shares progress. Every new employee is there. It's once a week. Every new employee says his name, what he's doing, which team he has, and every team shows every other week really what they do. So early screen design up to running software. This is an example of a retrospective we had in 2013. The whole company was reflecting on the last year, identifying what worked out, what didn't work out, and what are the reasons behind it. Of course, celebrate success. This was the celebration of 10,000 users, as far as I remember. And this is a celebration we established last year, and I really, really like it, and it's the quarterly celebration. Once a quarter, in the evening, every team prepares a booth and shares what they did the last quarter. And everyone in the company is running around to the other teams, and they explain what they do. And this is a picture from a backend developer who explains to a human resource guy what they did and what refactoring means. And this is usually not that easy to explain what's the value of refactoring. And he really, like the UML up there, so it still exists, I was also surprised, he really tried to explain what they want to solve. And here you can see an iOS developer. He used Lego to explain how to build the Bluetooth stack in our application. And this is not only for development teams, also finance team explain what they do, and everyone can go there and see what they're actually working on. This is something that we are not really good at, so to that things die. This is the Junior, a product we loved really, really, really a lot, and it was very hard for us to let it go. The same applies to features, so I think this is a ceremony we are not really good at. And I'm going to skip the last section, which is about the onboarding, so if you want in the Q&A, you can still ask it. So I'm going back to the beginning of the talk. So structure and culture are both important. One forms the other, I think, and you have to proactively work on it and adapt it while you grow. And like this, at least for us, it worked out to grow from 4 people to more than 100 people, going more or less the same direction and having the same goal. So what comes next? If you know people going we're hiring, so we're still growing. No, but seriously, so there's the talk from Flo, which I highly recommend. He will explain you how we built a new office in a similar way than a product, with the customers, the employees, user research, prototyping, everything. And we have a mySugr culture blog, so check it out. There are people writing about their experience when they joined the company, and you can also find an OKR article there, so I think it's a very interesting thing. So thanks a lot. I would like to thank Norbert and Fabian for great pictures, and Matthias for the illustrations, and of course you for your attention.